what's your message to just try to keep everybody together?
Yeah, I think it's pretty simple. That sucks. You know, the way you can make it suck more. Like, I think I'm not worried about the team staying together. I'm worried about us getting our football right. And, you know, I think that's the fourth game that we've lost in the final couple minutes this season, where it's been a one-score game, and we haven't come out victorious. So you got to figure that out. There's no doubt that there's guys that are hurting from the game that we let slip away. But yeah, and I think the biggest thing is that I think the team. I believe in the human beings, coaches, players, and they while we didn't get it done, they did show me why I believe in them. I think the resolve was real. I think we had a quarter that was very much less to be desired, and ended up being down 10 points in the fourth quarter, and got ourselves to a position with a lead with 46 seconds left, and we didn't finish the game that we started. So the message is, you want. It's hard to get victories in the National Football League, and so there's times when you do a lot to do it right, but we had turnovers that we could have managed better. We have, I believe in our special teams has done a good job all year in terms of impacting the game. That they did a good job this game, and then you don't want to see that many return yardage or that much return yardage. You don't have it on the 40 and defend from the 40 with one timeout. And so these are the things that you have to go through, but we will collectively get back to work tomorrow because that's what you do, and go face the next opponent while trying to correct the stuff from the tape.
Mike, you may or may not be aware that Tua said shortly that some players have not been either going to players-only meetings or being late. Curious how aware of you are that, if that's been going on, if that's something that you're worried about, any kind of fracturing in the locker room, guys not buying in, whatever the case may be.
No, so yeah, I didn't. Player-led meetings are extra things outside of what I demand. We've been very accountable. To me, it sounds like there was something on his mind with regard to the specific meetings with a couple individuals that he was trying to get corrected by being with direct communication. So, I think that's the only way to lead. As far as where we've been at as a program, I think we've opened the air on all of that, and it's very clear what our how we hold people accountable, and where my what's non-negotiable with all those things. So clearly he's sending a message, but from my standpoint, everything that I've asked of the guys, they have delivered on, and so I'm sure whomever he's talking to, they'll deliver as well, as he's a direct communicator with his teammates.
Mike, how did you see the decisive long pass to McConkey?
How did I see it? I think we had the part of winning football games is executing your best technique and fundamentals at the end of the game. Now, there's not one player or play that dictates the game. It's an accumulation of that. But when you're in a position to win a football game and you have a a quarterback in your grasp. I think the last or the play previous and that Ladd play, we have a potential sack. A potential sack in that situation is monumental because then they have to burn a timeout because they're behind the sticks, and now they have no timeouts, which can affect however you get points. And we were unable to come up with that sack. I think there's a couple people that had ops. He got the ball out, and then it comes back to more fundamentals and technique, where you're bringing your feet in space, and we had an overrun tackle, so very controllable. And it's a tough one to experience because it's at the root of the technique and fundamentals that we've been talking endlessly about how to bring ball carriers down. So that was a big play in the game. It didn't decide the game. However, it could have been the decider for us if we make plays that I think we have the ability to across the board. So that's something that needs to stand out for the guys. The loss will stand out. You want to attach it to something so that you can learn from it. One of the learning lessons to me will be our technique and fundamentals to close out games, because that's the parity in the National Football League. That is the formula you're trying to solve. Whatever the stats are on how close the scores are on average, it's a one possession league or a one possession score league, and so we have to come on. We have to figure out how to do that. And until we do that, we're gonna end up feeling the way we feel, and I'm pretty sure guys are way over that. So we need to get back to work.
Can you break down what happened coming out of half? It goes touchdown, interception, touchdown, real quick.
Yeah, it was not the way that we spent our halftime trying to really attack the game. I think we had a 4-point lead, and in football, it's close quarters. You're a little off on a throw, and it ends up being an interception. I think that quarter in particular was the least complimentary football that we played. I believe our successes came, from I think the first takeaway that we got. I think JB recovered a fumble, and then the next play we scored a touchdown. I think in the fourth quarter, we were down 2 scores with about 13 left, if I remember correctly. Then we scored maybe with about 7. Then they had 1 first down, and we forced a punt, and then we went back down on a 5-minute drive to score. We are getting the type of football we want when we play complementary football between the 3 phases, and we're letting it snowball too much. That's been the case in other games. We've been trying to nip that in the butt, but it showed up in the third quarter, and it cost us for sure.
Mike, with these one-score games, you mentioned it was, this is the 4th one. I think we heard Tua earlier say, that's kind of how football goes. Like, at what point do you say, one-score loss, like it's a coin flip versus no, this is specifically something that we have done wrong?
No, you always have to look at it as there's something you can control. You don't. Football games and life don't just happen to you. I think that's the biggest thing that our young players have to learn, and everyone has to learn, is that it doesn't. No one really has time nor cares about how you feel, and losing's hard, and it feels like trash. no one cares. You have to, regardless if they're high-fiving you or booing you, you have control over the next result, and that's it. You have your choice of how you go about things. You have your choice if things are going to beat you down, it's going to be too difficult. And in that, you find out, really who your teammates are, who people are. So I think the team knows that that's something that, I'm very front-end focused on how how you're able in this world and in this league to show everyone who you are by difficult times. A difficult time is losing a second consecutive game after having a lead in the last, what would you call it, the last third of the fourth quarter. So that's tough. It forces you to go back to work and focus on the details, and you don't know what detail is going to be the winning element. But it shouldn't matter. We have a job to do. Our job is not just to take a bunch of L's, so we need to go back to work and be tough-minded and figure out how we're gonna attack the next opponent, and that's where you go from there. And it's very, very clear, cut and dry. I trust the team of coaches and players to be strong-minded, understand the nature of the business, and attack it full fold. And we'll start right when the sun rises tomorrow.
Just to go off of that, my bad, man. To go off of that, I know every game is its own entity, but is there typically a common denominator when a team struggles to close out games late?
Yeah. Generally, it's the collective. It comes down to a lot of things. It can be as easy as who people want to point fingers at the end of the game, and I try to find themes for things that are occurring. Each game is unique to its own. I was looking to make sure that this team, didn't fall victim to, all right, man, we want to win, but oh shoot, here we go again. And fortunately or unfortunately, I got to find that information out in the third quarter, because there's where the team quits if the losses have beat them down too much. It wasn't the case. They fought back, and I was proud of that. But it's not what we're looking for. It's not. There's zero victory that would be considered moral. However, I think it's reasonable to have expectation that we have our best performance at the end of games as we continue to work as a team. Otherwise, we'll be forced to deal with the same result. And I know no one's on board in the locker room for that. So we will be very, very focused on finishing football games, particularly ones that we have in our grasp.